Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that helps you become your best self, and today we are talking about why do you want to improve? What is pushing you to change? But before we do that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on Instagram. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. I would also love for you to send me an email at realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. I check that email every single day now. I'm not going to miss anyone's email. That is my goal. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, all of the things, that would be great. There also in the show notes is a link to a survey, an anonymous survey, where you're able to put a suggestion for a topic. So if you prefer to do it there and do it anonymously, you can do it there too. A couple other things that you can look at in the show notes after the show is going to my website. There's lots of free resources, some blog posts, all kinds of goodies there. You can join the newsletter over there. There's also a link down there for you to join the Facebook group, which is great. It's a good community that we're slowly building. Want to be there for encouragement, accountability, doing weekly lives, all kinds of things over there. So check all of that out in the show notes, but let's go ahead and jump into the show. Again, today we are talking about why do you want to improve and what is pushing you to want to change. So I think that I reinvented myself like 5 times in my life so far. I was really actually thinking about it because I was like, how many times have I actually reinvented myself? And I was a different person when I was a young child. Obviously, I was very chill, just learning how to be a people pleaser, how to really suck up and be who I needed to be when I needed to be that person, but also learn how to manipulate. It was not very healthy, but that was happened. I became a different person after my mother died. That was right before I turned 14. So I was in 8th grade, and she died like within 2 weeks of school starting. So basically I was an awful mess with teachers that didn't really know me at the beginning of the school year. I became a different person after I left the place I grew up in, which is, if you don't know, Anchorage, Alaska. That is where I was born and raised. I was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska, and I lived there up until I graduated from high school, and I moved to Kirkland, Washington, which is right outside Seattle, to go to college. And I definitely became a different person when I went to college. Not like crazily, but I felt like the freedom of everything that I grew up in kind of like drifting off my shoulders a little bit. And so that felt good. I became a different person when I got married, because I needed to learn how to be a wife, and not necessarily like a stay-at-home wife or anything like that. It's just not, which is not bad. It was just that we were still in college when we got married. My husband was. I had to leave college at that time for so many different reasons. But it was adapting to a life with a partner, with someone that I'm going to be hanging around with all the time. Someone that, was my best friend, or he is my best friend, but I'm just talking about in the past. And so anyway, I definitely became a different person when I got married, just adapting to the reality and change of life. And then I became a different person after I had our child, for sure. Becoming a mother is such a big deal. It literally just changes you in the moment, because you immediately are now so worried about this little life. Sorry, I'm not going to cut that out. I just had to take a great sip of water. This is reality, guys. Becoming a mom is definitely a change. And so if you're not a mom, that's totally fine. It was a different change. Someone else's life was in my hands. Responsibility went through the roof. I definitely changed. And I think right now in my life, I am 36. I'm going to be 37 later this year. And I am about to hit my 6th major change in life. I fully believe that I'm in the wave right now, and it feels better than all those other changes. And I know that can sound bad, right? Because you're like, what? You just went through all these amazing changes. Well, some of them weren't amazing. But, I know that can sound bad, because maybe someone would say getting married or having a child should be the highlighted ones, right? Should be the ones that we cherish and we're like, oh my gosh, so great. But honestly, it's not. I think that's the way for a lot of people. those things were great. Me getting married to the love of my life, who I still love so much to this day. We've been married for almost 16 years now, and it's great. No regrets. It's amazing. And bringing our wonderful child into this world, those are both special moments that did really change me. Made me a different person, a better person, someone to aspire to until I was fully in that role of being that Sabrina in that season of life. But the shift I am going through right now feels like I am finally stepping into the true me. And I just want to know, maybe you're feeling that too. Maybe you are currently in a season of life where you are finally stepping into being who you truly are or meant to be, or something just feels right. That's like the best I can describe it. As someone that loves to be a writer and write and feels like it comes naturally to me, I am struggling to find the words to describe what I'm feeling. And if you haven't experienced that yet, I promise you it's coming. I promise, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't know when, and I don't really have any signs I can give you that'll be like, bam, it's coming, except that it'll feel so freeing. So freeing. It'll feel like, wow, this is where I'm meant to be. I feel so good. It feels, I don't know, the word would not be comfortable, but it feels good. It feels freeing. And, I know that I've been talking about natural shifts that happen in our lives. And I know that you're like, well, how does this really relate to talking about why do we want to improve and change in our lives? And I know that you're like, I don't understand why you just share that story with us. But when we become a different person, it's based on the experience that we're going through. That's that's very natural for us to go. You get married, you have children, you get a new job, or you do a big move or something like that. That's naturally going to change you, and shift you. But we also become different people when we want to change, right? And that's the one I am going through right now. I went after this change. Every other change that I told you, like being a child, that's just natural. When my mother died, definitely something outside of my control. When I went to college, yeah, it's a choice that I made, but it was kind of a natural cycle in my life. Graduating high school, going to college. I know that not everyone makes that choice, but it was a very natural progression for me. Even getting married, just getting married, finding this wonderful person to be with for the rest of my life, having a child, these are all distinct events that happened. But it's not as though I was okay, this is what we're doing right now. And that is where I am right now. This is what we're doing right now. We are changing. I wanted this change. I wanted to let go of what was holding me back from being my true self, my authentic self, who I truly am. And I know that can sound a little woo-woo and things where you're oh, I don't know what people are talking about when they say their true self. It's honestly the person that deep down inside who you want to be, who you're meant to be, how you're truly supposed to act without feeling you're afraid of what other people are going to think, or how people are going to react, or how you're going to be different from everyone you know or that you're related to, or any of this stuff. Someone that probably, maybe, possibly is opposite of who you are being right now. I don't know. It changes, but I wanted this change and I wanted to let go. And I had hoped that this change would come sooner than it did, but it didn't. It didn't, because initially I was going about it for all of the wrong reasons. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. A lot of us can initially go after something, aspire for something, want to set goals and achieve something for all of the wrong reasons. We think that we won't get caught in that, or we think that it won't matter, when really it does. It all adds up. It all matters. For me, and maybe you identify with this, is I wanted to impress people. And this is me being really vulnerable and transparent with you guys. I wanted to impress people. I wanted other people to envy me. I wanted respect and others to look up to me, right? All these really selfish things. Oh, looking back on it now, I was really looking for validation, like in all of the wrong places. And I spent a lot of my childhood and my time in high school doing that because my family life was a hot mess express. And I needed that validation from somewhere else because I wasn't taught how to do it for myself and I wasn't getting it at home. And so I'd been doing that for a while. And it's all these terrible, selfish things that I really didn't feel that bad about during, like, while it was happening. Or sometimes I did, and I would just hide it and be like, okay, I feel bad, but I mean, like, we'll figure this out. We never really figured it out until we realized that we're going down the wrong path. So I'm sure I'm not alone in that. But yeah, it wasn't until I realized I had to validate myself and do things because I truly wanted to do them and not for any gain from others that I was able to find from others, and I was able to find my own path of becoming freely me. Again, I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. It's just like if I was able, I needed to find the way to just like be like, I'm doing this for me and me only. It is not about what this group of people thinks of me or what the people on the internet think of me or what my family thinks of me. It's like, okay, this is between me and God, basically, because He created me to be this person and probably disappointed or not disappointed, like, sad for me that I'm trying to be someone else that He created me to be. And then it's like this joyous occasion now, I feel like, and I'm finally filling into who I was created and meant to be. Like, truly, it's a real thing. I don't think this is like some crazy stuff that I'm making up. It's a real thing. You can think of it as like reinventing yourself, if that makes you feel better, if that makes it easier for you to not in like, not, I don't mean that in a negative way, like to understand, if the way that I'm saying it just feels a little too spiritual, you know what I mean? So either way, like, it just feels so right. And when things just feel right, they feel right, right? So yeah, I was no longer trying to get other people to validate me. I wasn't doing it for the gain of others, but there were still bumps in the road. Of course, right? We're not going to just like all of a sudden, become different in our mindset and then everything is perfect. That's just not how life is. But it got easier the more I let go of how I looked to others. I was just like, okay. And this hasn't been happening for very long. So I'm not sitting here like, yeah, I've been doing this for years. Like, no, it's a new thing that's happening now. But it feels so good. So I'm like slowly letting go of like, okay, I don't care what they think. I can look crazy in front of them. I may never see them again. And even if I do, like, who knows what they're doing? Like, whatever. We can just do our own thing. It doesn't mean we have to be besties. Like, it's totally fine. But I wasn't putting on a show anymore. That's like really helped with the transition. I am fully aware that I am not trying to be overly impressive and, top notch people pleaser anymore, because that's not the authentic me. And I was just trying to be me without having to overthink every little decision. Do you struggle with that? You're like, oh my gosh, what should I look like? How should I speak? How should I respond? Do I need to like make sure my family isn't going to embarrass me? Do I really need to micromanage what everyone says and does and looks like and how they operate? Do I need to engage in this and not in that? Like, oh, it's so much. It's so overwhelming. It's so dumb. It's too much. I understand that sometimes people have to play the game in business. You want to climb these ladders in life. I honestly think that we could do that authentically. It might take longer. It might end up being a totally different journey, ladder, roadmap than we envisioned originally, but it's better. And it's more true to you. And I feel like it has less damage control at the end. Because if you're just being super fake just to like make your way to the top, then you feel like you have to do a lot of damage control when you get there, when you finally want to just like let your hair down and let loose. But yeah, so I was kind of just like letting go of all this stuff, but I still struggle with it. Okay. So I don't want you to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, Sabrina, like you're perfect. No, No, I would never say that. No. No, I'm not perfect. I'm sure I will always struggle with this a little bit and many other things because it's so ingrained in me and like how I grew up and who I am. You know, those little things linger on from who we are. We can't just completely like have major surgery and cut those things out of who we are. We can still struggle with it a little bit, and that's okay. That's human. That's normal. It's healthy. Um, but I know how to shift my mindset now so I don't get stuck. That's the key. You want to make sure that you know how to get out of that mindset, exit to the right or whatever, so that you're not going to get stuck there. You're not going to be sitting in the pit of despair, that I like to say, because that's not where we want to be. We're not in that. We're not being victims. We're not blaming other people for what we're experiencing. We are going to take responsibility and we are going to move on. And we're going to figure it out. I think that's one of the best things to understand when we are making efforts to become our true, authentic selves and our best selves. We need to remember that just because we do all of this work doesn't mean we are going to be magically healed. Absolutely not. We still struggle here and there, as do I. We all do. But because we have done all of this work to change and shift our mindset and learn how to control our emotions and really make better decisions and reactions and all of these things, we will no longer get stuck in these mindsets. Recognizing a shift is needed comes easier when we're like, wow, why are we just sitting in this negativity? Let's move on to something else, right? As opposed to just continuing to like dig that pit deeper into the negativity. No, it's not necessary. We don't need to do that. And now I'm sure, maybe not, but I'm sure you're asking what tips I can give you that relate to any of this stuff, right? You're like, okay, Sabrina, like we're at the point in the show where you start giving the tips. Like, what are you going to talk about? And the best two tips I can give you first on eventually shifting into the person you're truly meant to be without outside validation, like without that, we don't need that anymore. We don't need it. Sometimes I still want to cling to it, and then I have to remind myself, why? Wow, saying like why kind of reminded me of the like NSYNC song. That's funny. Anyway, we need patience and we need perseverance. Now, those aren't the only two tips I'm going to give you. We're going to move into the real tips here soon. But I wanted to include that because these are tips. These are two really good tips to give you when you want to start shifting into the person that you're truly meant to be. You have to give yourself patience to get there when you get there. And you have to have perseverance to not give up and not allow old habits and old things and old people to drag you back, to get you stuck. You got to keep moving forward despite the struggles and the issues that will inevitably get in your way. But today, I actually wanted to share with you 5 things you should actually focus on when you want to change for the better. Because we all want to change for the better, right? And we are doing the best that we can. And so I want to share with you 5 tips on what you should actually focus on when you do want to change for the better. You want to start reinventing yourself. You want to shift and move on to that next person in your life of being authentically you. These are the things you should focus on as opposed to trying to impress people, get outside validation, worry about like how you're acting and how those repercussions will go through everything else in your life. Even though I know sometimes that's important, but we really should let go of that to be who we're meant to be because it's just better and easier. Okay, 5 tips. First one, see yourself as a work in progress. So you will always be growing and changing. So it's important for you to not be upset when you make mistakes or fall back into old habits because it will happen. Like I told you before, I still struggle with this stuff, okay? I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No, none of us are perfect or will ever be perfect. The only person that's perfect is Jesus Christ, okay? So just we need to stop. Like I wish that I could if I had a dream, if I had the money to complete a dream that I have, it would be to have billboards that said this stuff. Like, you're not perfect, so stop trying. So stop trying. This is like the kind of crazy stuff that I would love to put online on Instagram, and I need to just do it. Today was actually the first day that I actually posted something controversial, and needless to say, I didn't get a lot of views. Not yet. It's totally fine. Not everyone has to agree with my opinion. They do not. But it's just like, I want to like shout these things from the rooftops. You're not perfect. Maybe that'll be my next Instagram, TikTok post, because I think it's important for us to realize and grasp and embrace the fact that we are not perfect. We are all works in progress. You need to see yourself as a work in progress. You need to understand that it's going to be hard and you're going to mess up, and that is okay. And that is normal because mistakes and failures are the best learning ways to learn, right? Learning lessons. I say that all the time. It's so important. They're so good for us. It sucks in the moment. Good when you reflect back on it. To glean the information that is necessary for you to take with you and move forward to try again. So see yourself as a work in progress. Try not to get all wrapped up in the fact that things are not going as you had planned or maybe as well as you thought, and you have to put a little more effort and time into it. Or you fall back into things you used to do and you're like, crap, that's not what I want to do. Pick yourself back up, try again. It's okay. You are a work in progress, so don't be frustrated with yourself too much. Number 2, identify the resistance in your life. When I say resistance, I do not mean like, Star Wars, but that'd be cool too. Identify the resistance in your life. So what is pushing back when you are pursuing forward, when you're trying to go after something, achieve something? What is pushing back? Also, what keeps getting in your way? Is it a certain person? Is it like something at work? Is it work? Is it a habit that you're engaged in? I don't know. And how can you push past it? Can you push past it? I'm sure you can. You just have to figure out the appropriate way to do so without hopefully not, having like a chain of dominoes just like go down through your life. That would really suck. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes it needs to happen, right? It's not fun. We just have to go through it. And then are you allowing it to stop you? Whatever the resistance that is happening that's preventing you from becoming your best self, changing, reinventing yourself, however you want to look at it, are you allowing those things to stop you? Are you allowing those things to get in your way? Are you engaging in self-sabotage? And if you need more help in understanding self-sabotage, I did an episode about it like 10, 15 episodes ago. Go back and listen to it. It will be really helpful. But yeah, ask yourself, how can you push past it? Are you allowing it to stop you? What keeps getting in your way? What is it? Be honest with yourself. Write it down. Maybe it's a list of things. I don't know. Because then you got to figure out how you're going to attack those things. How you're going to wiggle on by and be like, peace out. I'm moving on. Okay, number 3. Identify what you want to change and the associated habits. So you want to stop doing something that isn't benefiting you, is not helping you become the person you want to be your true self, be your authentic self. Okay, great. But what are the habits that lead you to keep doing that thing, right? So, do you want to stop smoking? Like maybe that's something that does not agree with the new person or the authentic person that you are wanting to be, right? You're like, I need to stop smoking. But ask yourself, like, but you continuously like hang around people that smoke. Obviously, that is not going to help you to want to stop smoking because it'll just continue to increase the craving for you to do so until you break. Do you want to stop hurting yourself? Maybe you hurt yourself in a certain way, but you haven't found a positive coping mechanism to do instead. So a positive coping mechanism is basically just something that you would do instead of like a negative one. So a negative one, when you're encountering stress and anxiety and things that are going kind of haywire, overwhelming in your life, you can cling to a positive or a negative coping mechanism. A negative coping mechanism would be hurting yourself, drinking, smoking, engaging in reckless behavior, things like that. A positive coping mechanism would be more of like spending time with friends, taking a nap, taking a shower, watching a show, engaging in an activity that's really fun, exercising, something like that. And so if you want something to change that you don't like that you do, you have to figure out what habits are associated with that behavior that continues to lead you to doing it, even though you don't want to. And then you have to cut those behaviors and really get to the root of the issue of like, okay, I want to lose weight and I'm doing all this exercise, but I'm forgetting that I also need to change my diet, right? So it's just things for you to consider. Identify what you want to change and the associated behaviors that go with that, and you need to eliminate it all. Not you just like, if you're just going to cut off an arm but leave the head, it's still going to be there to try to take you down. I think that was a bad analogy, but you understood what I'm saying. Number four, find a way to reflect back to observe your progress. I really suck at this. I do. It's something that I want to get better at. It's something that I even said today at a doctor's appointment. I was like, crap, I need to start taking notes on how I feel on certain things, protocols that we were going through. But even outside of that, I am determined to keep a short digital journal on my computer because I refuse to write as much as I want to say by hand. Despite the fact that I like writing by hand, it would just be a lot. And usually when I am feeling deep emotions and I'm recounting how my day went, it'd be much better and quicker for me to just like type it out and get through it, right? And just do like small journal entries here, there, and everywhere, every day. That is the goal. That's what I'm going to do. You could do that too. Or you could keep an actual journal diary, like handwritten. Another thing that I was trying out, but I realized I needed it in written form for other purposes, is to just record voice notes on your phone. And you're like, okay, today I started doing this, or I started working on this. And then you continually update yourself. I'm like, okay, this is how this is going. This is how this is going. And then you'll be able to like reflect back, like, okay, where did I start 3 months ago and where am I now? What progress have I made? What needs to change? What needs to stay the same? Do I need to go in a totally different direction for this thing for me to become the person that I want to be? So just find a way to reflect back, to observe your progress and see if there needs to be change or if everything is okay-doke. Okay, number five, and the last tip that I have for you on what to focus on when you want to change for the better is take action to build courage. Courage is very important in being your authentic self because you have to stay true to who you are, and that can take a lot of courage, especially if you are kind of an outsider, a loner now to the community that you used to be a part of. That can kind of suck. So you need to have courage, and you need to take action to build courage. So take small steps in the direction of becoming who you want to be, and they can be small, even as small as like breadcrumbs. But as long as you're taking a step on a regular cadence that makes sense, you will eventually get to where you want to go. And sometimes we can start with small steps and then we can slowly accelerate up to medium and big and giant steps. And things are just flowing and moving at that point. But for me, like taking action to build courage, that meant like sharing my true opinions, not the fake ones that I thought would like impress others or ones that were the same. So others thought that I would like fit in and had the same mindset and everything as them. So I wasn't like the odd man out. So do something you're afraid to do or aren't sure is going to work out well for you, because you won't know until you try if that's going to work out for you or not. Maybe you know based on history, but just because it happened one way then does not mean it's going to happen the same way now. And like I said, courage that I took even today was posting a controversial view on how I think that coaching can be better. I really should have worded it differently now I think in hindsight. But coaching can be better than therapy. Now, I'm a person that goes to therapy every single week. So do not get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about therapy. I'm just saying that depending upon what you want out of your life, coaching can be better. But it just depends. It depends on like where you are in your life and what you want to work on and focus on, to be honest. And that was the controversial view that I shared today. And it made me really nervous. And I like several times have just like thought about maybe I should delete the video, but I'm like, nope, I'm just going to let it stay and just keep making content and see how life goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. So that's just an encouragement. Take action to build courage. You have to take small steps, medium, big, giant steps. And your courage will start to build and you'll feel more courageous and confident, and you'll be able to step out and do things that you haven't done before, take risks, and move in the right direction. So that's all the tips I have for you today in regards to how and what you should focus on for how you're going to change for the better and become the person that you are authentically created to be. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast again with me, Sabrina. I appreciate you guys so much. Do not forget to check the show notes below. Again, to join the Facebook community, to sign up for the newsletter, which now is weekly on Mondays. It'll be delivered to your inbox on Mondays, just with a quick little, story from me on like a lesson. I usually round up any podcasts that you may have missed. I will talk about any recommendations that I think would be beneficial for your mental health or your mindset. I will announce anything that's going to happen that's coming up. I think there are a couple other things that I talk about in the newsletter, but I've tried to make it as simple and chill as possible, not like craziness. So anyway, check that out. Go to my website, follow me on Instagram, send me an email, fill out the survey if you have topic suggestions, all of those things. So until next time, have a good one, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, guys.